I was placed on an auction block on my 19th birthday. My stepfather's final act before the cancer took him. Sell me to the highest bidder to cover his gambling debts. Pay for his sins with my body. I stood there in white silk that clung to my skin. Virgin sacrifice, the auctioneer called me. Like I was livestock. Like I was nothing. The room was full of alphas. Their scents mixed together in a suffocating cloud. Expensive cologne and cigars, and something darker underneath. Hunger. Possession. Want. I couldn't stop shaking. Lot 47, the auctioneer said. His voice echoed through the warehouse. 19 years old. Male Omega. Unmated. Certified virgin. No medical issues. Speaks 3 languages. Starting bid, 100,000. Hands went up immediately. 200,000. 3. 500,000. The numbers climbed higher. Faster. Each bid felt like a nail in my coffin. I searched the crowd for a kind face. For someone who might not hurt me. But all I saw were predators. Alphas who looked at me like I was meat. My hands trembled so badly I had to clasp them together. The silk slipped off one shoulder. I tried to fix it, but the auctioneer grabbed my wrist. Leave it, he hissed. They're paying for the view. I wanted to cry, wanted to scream, wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. $1 million. The room went quiet for a moment. Then the bidding exploded. 1.5, 2 million, 3. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The numbers were too high, too impossible. What kind of person paid millions for another human being? That's when I heard it. A voice from the back of the room. Cold, commanding, absolute. $10 million. The silence that followed was deafening. And anyone who bids against me, the voice continued, will be removed from this establishment permanently. The threat was clear, unmistakable. I watched as men in the front rows went pale. Watched as they lowered their hands. Watched as they suddenly found the floor very interesting. Footsteps echoed through the warehouse. Heavy, purposeful, moving closer. The crowd parted like water. And Alessandro Carmine walked forward. I'd heard the name before. Everyone had. The ghost, they called him. The assassin who worked for the commission. The man who killed without hesitation and disappeared without a trace. He was 40 years old. Tall, broad shoulders and a black suit that probably cost more than my stepfather's house. Dark hair touched with silver at the temples. Sharp jaw, and eyes so black they looked empty. Dead eyes. That's what people said about him. Eyes that had seen too much death to reflect anything living. He stopped at the base of the platform, looked up at me. His scent hit me like a physical force. Dark and cold. Something that smelled like winter and violence and expensive whiskey. My Omega instinct screamed. Danger. Predator. Run. But I couldn't move. Sold. The auctioneer said quickly. Relief evident in his voice. Lot 47 to Alessandro Carmine for $10 million. Hey, welcome to Cozy BL Corner. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really encourages my work and helps me bring you more stories. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's story. Alessandro's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Come here, he said to me. Not loud. He didn't need to be loud. I took a step forward. My legs shook. The platform was elevated. I'd have to climb down. Before I could figure out how, Alessandro moved. In one fluid motion, he was on the platform. His hands came to my waist, and he lifted me down like I weighed nothing. The moment my feet touched the ground, his hand wrapped around the back of my neck. Possessive, claiming, "You belong to me now," he said quietly. Close enough that only I could hear. And I don't share. My voice came out as a whisper. What's your name? You'll call me sir. His thumb pressed against my pulse point. Or master. Whichever I prefer at the time. Do you understand? I nodded. Couldn't do anything else. Good. He released my neck. Took my hand instead. His grip was firm. Unbreakable. Let's go home. Home. The word felt wrong. Foreign. But I followed him anyway. Because I didn't have a choice. Because I belonged to him now. The car ride was silent. Alessandro sat beside me in the back of a sleek black town car. His hand rested on my thigh. Not sexual, just possessive. A reminder that I was his property now. I stared out the window, watched the city pass by. Try not to think about what was coming. I knew what happened to Omegas who were bought. I wasn't naive. My stepfather had made sure I understood exactly what I was worth. Alessandro's hand tightened slightly on my thigh. "You're shaking," he observed. His voice was flat, emotionless. "I'm scared," I admitted. What was the point in lying? "You should be." The words made my blood run cold. We pulled up to a building that looked like it belonged in an architecture magazine. All glass and steel and modern lines. The kind of place I'd only seen in movies. Alessandro helped me out of the car. His hand returned to the back of my neck, guiding me, controlling me. We took an elevator that required a key card. It went up and up and up. The penthouse. Of course. The doors opened directly into his apartment. The space was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture in blacks and grays. Everything cold and sharp and expensive. It looked like no one actually lived here. Like it was a showroom. Alessandro released my neck. Walked to a bar cart. Poured himself something dark. "Ground rules," he said without looking at me. "You live here now. You don't leave without my permission. You don't speak to anyone without my permission. You wear what I tell you to wear. You eat what I tell you to eat. You sleep where I tell you to sleep." Each word was a chain, wrapping tighter and tighter around me. "Do you understand?" "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, what?" I swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." "Better." He turned to face me. Those empty black eyes swept over my body. Assessing. "You're younger than I expected." "I'm 19. 19. He repeated it like he was testing the word. "Still a child." "I'm an adult," I said, trying to sound braver than I felt. His smile was sharp. Predatory. "No, you're not. But you will be, after I'm done with you." The threat in those words made my knees weak. He set down his glass, crossed the room, stood in front of me. Up close, I could see details I'd missed. The scar that cut through his left eyebrow. The absolute stillness of his expression. The way he looked at me like I was a puzzle he was trying to solve. "What's your name?" he asked. "Elliot." My voice shook. "Elliot Rivers." "Elliot," he said slowly, like he was claiming it. "Do you know what I bought you for, Elliot?" I shook my head, too terrified to speak. His hand came up, cupped my face. His thumb brushed across my lower lip. "I bought you because you looked at me," he said quietly. "For just a second, when I walked into that warehouse, you looked directly at me. And you didn't see the ghost. You didn't see the monster. You looked at me like I was still human. I didn't know what to say to that. No one's looked at me like that in 15 years, he continued. His thumb pressed harder against my lip. "So I bought you. And now you're mine. And I'm going to break you into pieces until you look at me like that again." My breath caught. "Go to the bedroom," Alessandro said, releasing my face. "Second door on the left. Strip. Kneel on the bed. Wait for me." Terror crashed over me in waves. Please, I don't." That wasn't a request. His voice went cold. "Hard. You have 5 minutes. Don't make me come get you." I ran. The bedroom was as cold and modern as the rest of the apartment. Massive bed. Black silk sheets. No personal items. Nothing human. I stood there shaking, my hands fumbling with the silk dress they'd put me in for the auction. This was it. This was what I'd been sold for. I thought about running, about trying the windows. But we were 40 floors up and the windows didn't open. I thought about fighting. But Alessandro was twice my size and trained to kill. I thought about crying. But what good would that do? So I did what he told me. Because I didn't have a choice. I stripped, folded the dress carefully, even though my hands were shaking. And I climbed onto the bed, knelt there, naked, exposed, waiting. The minutes stretched into eternity. I heard his footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, like he had all the time in the world. The door opened. Alessandro stood in the doorway. He'd removed his jacket. His shirt sleeves were rolled up. He looked at me with those dead eyes. "Good," he said. "You can follow instructions." He crossed the bed, stood in front of me. His hand went to my hair, fisted in it, tilted my head back. "You're shaking again." "I can't help it," I whispered. "I know." His grip tightened. Not painful, but firm, controlling. "Tell me, Elliot, has anyone ever touched you?" "No, not even yourself." My face burned. "No, sir." Something flickered in his expression. Satisfaction, possession, hunger. "Perfect," he murmured. "Absolutely perfect." His other hand traced down my neck, over my collarbone, down my chest. I couldn't stop shaking. couldn't breathe properly. His touch was calculated, methodical, like he was mapping every inch of skin, learning what made me flinch, what made me gasp. "You're going to learn," he said quietly, his hand sliding lower, "that your body belongs to me now. Every reaction, every sound, every touch, all mine." I squeezed my eyes shut. "Look at me." I forced my eyes open, met his gaze. "I'm going to ruin you," Alessandro said, and it sounded like a promise. "I'm going to take everything you are and reshape it. You'll forget what it felt like before me. You'll forget you were ever anything except mine." His hand kept moving, exploring, claiming, and I realized with horrible clarity that he meant every word. The first week was a nightmare. Alessandro didn't hurt me, not physically, but what he did was worse. He controlled everything. What I wore, when I ate, where I slept, when I woke, when I bathed. He touched me constantly, not sexually, not quite, but always reminding me that my body wasn't mine anymore. A hand on my neck when he passed, fingers brushing my wrist when he handed me something, his presence behind me when I stood at the windows. I wasn't allowed to leave the penthouse, wasn't allowed to contact anyone. My phone had been taken. My clothes had been replaced with things he'd chosen. Simple things, soft fabrics, always white or gray, like I was a blank canvas he was preparing to paint. He made me serve him, bring his coffee, pour his drinks, sit at his feet while he worked. "You need to understand your place," he'd said on the second day. "You're not a guest here. You're property. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be." I hated him. Hated the way he looked at me with those empty eyes. Hated the way he touched me like I was an object. Hated the way he made me feel small and helpless and owned. But I was also terrified of him, because sometimes I'd catch him watching me with an expression I couldn't read. Something hungry and dark and barely contained. And I knew, eventually, he'd stop restraining himself. On the 8th day, Alessandro came home covered in blood. I was in the kitchen making tea like he'd taught me when I heard the elevator. Heard his footsteps, turned and saw him standing there. Blood splattered across his white shirt, on his hands, a few drops on his face. I dropped the teacup. It shattered on the marble floor. "Clean that up," Alessandro said. His voice was flat, emotionless, like he hadn't just walked in looking like he'd killed someone. He probably had. I knelt, started picking up pieces with shaking hands. One shard cut my palm. Blood welled up bright and red. "Stop." His voice was sharp. I froze. He crossed to me in 3 strides, grabbed my bleeding hand, stared at it. Then he did something I didn't expect. He lifted my hand to his mouth, pressed his lips to the cut. His tongue flicked out, tasted my blood. "You're clumsy," he said against my skin. "Careless." "I'm sorry, sir. Are you afraid of me?" He looked up. Those black eyes locked on mine. I didn't know how to answer that. "Yes," I finally whispered. "Good." He released my hand. "You should be. Do you know what I do, Elliot?" I shook my head. "I kill people." He said it simply, matter of fact. People who need to disappear. People who seen too much or know too much or are worth more dead than alive. I make them vanish. That's what I do. My stomach turned. And you know what's interesting? He tilted his head, studied me. "I thought buying you would make me feel something. I thought having someone pure and untouched would remind me what it's like to be human. But it hasn't worked. I still feel nothing." The words should have relieved me. Instead, they made something in my chest ache. "So, I'm going to try something else," Alessandro continued. He stood, pulled me to my feet. "I'm going to take you, claim you, make you mine in every way possible. And maybe then I'll feel something other than empty." Terror flooded through me. "Please," I whispered. "Please don't. You're not ready." He said it like an observation. Not sympathy, just fact. "You break, and I prefer my toys intact." He released me. "Step back. Finish cleaning this up. Then go to bed. I'll be working late." He walked away, left me kneeling in broken glass and blood. And I realized something horrible. He was waiting, building anticipation, making me dread what was coming. Because the fear was part of what he wanted. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in the bed he'd given me, in the guest room that felt like a cage. And I cried as quietly as I could. I miss my mother. She died when I was 12. Cancer. The same thing that had taken my stepfather. I missed being invisible, being nobody, having a life that was small and quiet and mine. I missed feeling human. A sound made me freeze. My door was opening. Alessandro stood in the doorway, backlit by the hallway light. He'd showered, changed. The blood was gone. "You're crying," he observed. I quickly wiped my face. "I'm sorry, sir. Don't apologize for having feelings." He crossed to the bed, sat on the edge. "I may have taken everything else, but you're allowed to cry." The unexpected kindness made me cry harder. His hand came to my hair, stroked through it, gentle, almost tender. "Tell me what you're thinking," he said quietly. "I want to go home," I sobbed. "I want my mother. I want to be anyone except this. Your mother's dead. Your stepfather sold you. You have no home." Each word was brutal truth. "The only thing you have is me. And I'm not kind, Elliot. I'm not going to save you or protect you or give you a fairy tale." "Then why are you here?" I looked at him through tears. "Why do you care if I'm crying?" Something flickered in his expression, so fast I almost missed it. "I don't know," he admitted. And for the first time, his voice sounded uncertain. "Human, I bought you to feel something. And watching you cry is the first thing that's made me feel anything in years. So maybe I'm here because you're working. You're breaking through whatever's dead inside me." His hand cupped my face, thumb brushing away tears. "Or maybe," he said quietly, "I'm here because some part of me remembers what it's like to need comfort. And I can't give it to you, but I can sit here while you fall apart. That's all I have to offer." We stayed like that, him sitting on the edge of my bed, his hand on my face, me crying into his palm. And when I finally fell asleep, exhausted from tears, he was still there. Week 3, something shifted. Alessandro started teaching me things. How to cook. Simple things at first. Pasta. Vegetables. He'd stand behind me at the stove, his chest pressed against my back, his hands covering mine. "Like this," he'd say, guiding my movements. Gently. "Don't rush it." How to serve drinks properly. The right temperature. The correct glass. How to pour without spilling. "Details matter," he'd explain. "In my work. In everything. If you can't control small things, you can't control anything." How to move through space quietly. How to read a room. How to disappear into corners. "Invisibility is a survival skill," he'd said. "Learn it well." I realized after a while what he was doing. He was training me, shaping me, turning me into something that fit his world. But there were moments, small ones, where the mask would slip, like when I burned my hand on a pan and he immediately pulled me to the sink, ran cold water over it, his jaw tight with something that looked almost like concern. Or when I mastered a recipe and he smiled, just slightly, just for a second, before the empty expression returned. Or when he found me reading one of his books and instead of punishing me, he asked what I thought. "You're educated," he'd observed. Surprised. "My mother made sure of it. Before she died. Tell me about her." And I had, for an hour, while he listened with an attention that felt hungry, like he was trying to understand something he'd forgotten. But then night would come, and he'd touch me, not gently, not tenderly. He'd pull me onto his lap while he worked. His hand would slide under my shirt, tracing patterns on my skin, learning my body inch by inch. "You're reacting more," he'd murmur against my neck. "Your scent is changing, responding to me." I couldn't help it. My omega biology was betraying me. His scent was everywhere, surrounding me, seeping into my skin. My body was starting to crave his touch, even as my mind screamed against it. "Please," I'd whisper when his hand would slide too low. "Not yet. I'm not ready." And he'd stop, would pull back, but his eyes would be dark with want. "Soon," he'd promise. "Very soon, you won't say no anymore." Wow, you made it this far. If you're enjoying the story and still haven't subscribed, please take a second to do so. It means a lot. Also, drop a comment and let us know where you're listening from. All right, let's get back to the story. On day 27, I broke. Alessandro had been gone for 3 days. A job, he'd said. He'd left me locked in the penthouse with enough food and strict instructions not to touch anything in his office. I'd spent 3 days alone, in silence, with nothing but my thoughts and fear. When he came back, I was standing at the windows, watching the city, wondering if anyone down there knew I existed. I heard the elevator, heard his footsteps, turned to see him standing there, alive, whole, and something inside me snapped. I ran to him, threw my arms around him, buried my face in his chest. "You came back," I sobbed. I didn't know if. I felt him go rigid, felt the surprise in his body. Then slowly, carefully, his arms came around me. "I always come back," he said quietly. "This is my home." I was alone, I whispered. I was so alone. His hand slid into my hair, fisted, pulled my head back, so I had to look at him. "You missed me." It wasn't a question. "Yes," I admitted, hating myself for it. "I missed you. I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't. I know you're." He kissed me, hard, claiming, his mouth brutal against mine. It was my first kiss, and it tasted like possession and darkness and something desperately lonely. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. "I felt it," he said, wonder in his voice, actual emotion. "When you ran to me, when you touched me, I felt something." His hands framed my face, desperate, almost reverent. "Say it again. Tell me you missed me." "I missed you," I whispered. "Again. I missed you." "What?" His eyes searched mine. "Why would you miss a monster?" "Because you're all I have," I said. And it was the truth, horrible and honest. "Because I hate you and I'm terrified of you, but you're the only person in the world who knows I'm alive. So yes, I missed you." Something cracked in his expression. He kissed me again, softer this time, like he was trying to memorize the feeling. "I'm going to ruin you," he breathed against my lips. "Not tonight, but soon, and you're going to let me. Aren't you?" I should have said no, should have fought, but I was so tired, so lonely, so desperate for anything that felt like connection. "Yes," I whispered. "Yes, sir." His smile was beautiful and terrible. The next 2 weeks blurred together. Alessandro was different, still controlled, still dangerous. But there was something underneath now, something awake. He touched me more, kissed me more, his hands possessive and demanding. He'd pull me into his lap while watching the city, his face buried in my neck, inhaling my scent like he needed it to breathe. "You smell different," he'd say, sweeter, like you're accepting this, accepting me. That was the horrible part. I was starting to want his touch, to crave his attention. Stockholm Syndrome, my rational brain screamed. "You're trauma bonding." But my omega instincts whispered something else. Safe. Alpha. Home. One night, I woke to find him standing over my bed. "Alessandro." I used his name without thinking. Without the sir. He didn't correct me. "I'm trying to decide," he said quietly, "whether to take you tonight, whether you're ready." My heart pounded. "I don't know if I am." "I know you're not." He sat on the edge of the bed. "But I'm running out of patience. My control only goes so far, Elliot. And you test it every time you look at me. Every time you say my name. Every time you exist in my space and smell like home." Home. That word again. "Why did you really buy me?" I asked. The truth. He was quiet for a long moment. "Because I'm empty," he finally said. "I've killed so many people that I stopped being human somewhere along the way. I don't feel guilt. Don't feel fear. Don't feel much of anything except cold calculation. But then I saw you on that platform, shaking and scared and trying so hard to be brave. And for just a second, I felt something. Curiosity. Want. Something other than nothing." His hand found mine in the darkness. "I thought if I owned you, if I controlled you, if I broke you down and rebuilt you into something that belonged to me completely, maybe I'd feel human again. Maybe your fear would make me feel powerful. Maybe your pain would make me feel alive." "And did it work?" I whispered. "No." His grip tightened. "But your tears did. Your anger did. Your desperate need for connection did. All the things I can't manufacture or control or force. Those made me feel something." He leaned down, his forehead pressed against mine. "I don't know how to be gentle. Don't know how to give you what you need. All I know is possession, control, taking what I want and keeping it." "Then that's what you'll do," I said quietly. "You'll take me, keep me, and I'll survive it, because I don't have another choice." "You do," he said, and his voice was rough. "You could keep fighting, keep hating me, keep being terrified. Would you let me go if I did?" "No." "Then I don't have a choice." We stayed like that, foreheads pressed together, breathing the same air. "I'm going to claim you," Alessandro said. "Soon, when your heat comes. Because that's what's happening, isn't it? You're going into preheat. I noticed the way my body temperature was rising, the way I was restless, the way his scent made me dizzy. Yes, I admitted. Good. His hand slid into my hair. Because I've waited long enough. And when it happens, when I finally take what's mine, you're going to understand what it means to belong to me completely. My heat hit 3 days later. I woke up burning, sweating, every nerve ending on fire. I knew what it was immediately. My first heat. The one I'd been dreading since I presented as Omega at 16. Alessandro was at work. I was alone. I stumbled to the shower. Tried cold water. It didn't help. Just made me shiver while still burning from the inside. I called him. The phone he'd given me that only had his number. Alessandro. I gasped when he answered. Please. It's my heat. I don't know what to do. Silence. Then his voice. Dark. Satisfied. I'll be home in 20 minutes. Go to my bedroom. Strip. Get on the bed. Don't touch yourself. That's my job now. He hung up. 20 minutes felt like eternity. I made it to his room. His bed. The scent of him everywhere made it worse. Made me desperate. Needy. I heard the elevator. His footsteps. He appeared in the doorway. Looked at me with those black eyes that weren't empty anymore. They were burning. Finally, he breathed. He crossed the bed. Ran his hand over my overheated skin. You're perfect like this. Desperate. Needing me. Please, I whimpered. Please, it hurts. I know. His hand slid lower. And I'm going to make it better. But first, you're going to say it. You're going to tell me you're mine. I'm yours, I gasped. Again. I'm yours. Please, Alessandro. Please. His smile was dark. Possessive. Victorious. That's my good boy. What happened next blurred together. Heat and need and his hands everywhere. His mouth claiming mine. His scent surrounding me until I couldn't tell where I ended and he began. He was careful. Despite everything. Despite the darkness in him. He was careful not to hurt me too badly. But he took everything. Every sound. Every plea. Every moment of surrender. And by the time my heat broke 2 days later, I was his. Completely. Irrevocably. In every way that mattered. I woke wrapped in his arms. Sore. Exhausted. Changed. How do you feel? Alessandro asked. His hand stroking through my hair. Different, I whispered. You should. You're bonded to me now. My scent. My mark. My claim. Everyone will know you belong to me. I should have felt trapped. Should have hated him more. Instead, I just felt tired. And strangely safe. What happens now? I asked. Now. His arms tightened around me. Now you're truly mine. And I don't let go of things that belong to me. The weeks after my heat were different. Alessandro changed. Not completely. He was still controlled. Still dangerous. Still the ghost who killed without hesitation. But with me, he was different. He stopped making me kneel. Stopped treating me like property. He started asking instead of commanding. Would you like dinner? Instead of make dinner. He started sleeping in the same bed. Holding me through the night. His face buried in my neck like my scent was the only thing keeping him human. I don't understand this, he'd say. Voice rough. I don't understand what you've done to me. I haven't done anything. You've made me feel. His hand would tighten on me. Joy when you smile. Fear when you're hurt. Possessiveness so strong it's painful. I killed a man last week because he looked at you too long in a surveillance photo. The confession should have horrified me. Instead, I just pressed closer. I'm sorry. Don't be. He'd kiss my temple. It means I'm alive. For the first time in 15 years, I'm actually alive. But the fear never fully left. Because I knew what he was. Knew what he was capable of. And I knew that eventually, his darkness would swallow me whole. 3 months after the auction, I realized something was wrong. I was sick every morning. Exhausted constantly. My body felt different. I tried to ignore it. But Alessandro noticed everything. You're pregnant, he said one morning. Watching me rush to the bathroom. I froze. That's not possible. We were careful. Heats override suppressants. You know that. He stood, crossed to me. You're carrying my child. Terror crashed through me. You're going to leave me now. I whispered. Aren't you? You didn't want this. You just wanted. He grabbed my face. Hard. Made me look at him. Listen to me, he said. His voice fierce. I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving. You're mine. The baby is mine. And I protect what's mine. But No. He kissed me, possessive and claiming. You're stuck with me forever now. Do you understand? Forever. His hands moved to my still flat stomach. Protective. Reverent. I'm going to be a father, he breathed, wonder in his voice. I never thought. I never imagined. He pulled me into his arms, held me so tight I could barely breathe, and I felt wetness on my hair. Realized with shock that Alessandro was crying. Thank you, he whispered, for making me human again, for giving me this, for being exactly what I needed, even when I didn't know I needed it. I held him while he fell apart. This deadly man, this monster, this person who'd bought me and broken me and somehow made me his. And I realized something terrifying. I loved him. I didn't know when it had happened. Somewhere between the fear and the control and the desperate need for connection, I'd fallen in love with the man who owned me. Alessandro, I whispered, I love you. He pulled back, stared at me, his eyes wide with shock. Say that again. I love you. I know I shouldn't. I know it's sick and wrong, and probably just Stockholm Syndrome. But I do. I love you. His expression cracked, shattered, reformed into something beautiful and raw and desperately vulnerable. I love you too, he said, and his voice broke. God help me. I love you so much it terrifies me. He kissed me, and it was different from every kiss before. Gentle, reverent, like I was precious instead of property. I'm sorry, he whispered against my lips. I'm sorry for buying you, for breaking you, for taking your choices. I'm sorry for all of it. I know. Can you forgive me? I looked at this man, this monster who'd become human for me, this killer who cried at the thought of being a father, this person who'd taken everything from me and somehow given me something back. Already have, I said. The pregnancy changed everything. Alessandro became obsessive about my safety. Hired guards, installed more security, stopped taking jobs that kept him away overnight. I can't risk it, he'd say. Can't risk losing you. Can't risk losing our baby. He was gentle with me now, careful, his touches reverent instead of claiming. He'd talk to my belly, tell our daughter we found out at 20 weeks about the world, about how much he loved her, about how he'd protect her forever. She's going to have everything we didn't, he'd say. Love, safety, choice, everything. But his past caught up with us at 7 months. I was reading on the couch when Alessandro came home early. His face was pale, his scent sharp with something I'd never felt from him before. Fear. We have to leave, he said. Right now. Pack only what you can carry. I stood. My hand went to my belly protectively. What happened? The commission knows about you. About the baby. His hands were shaking. They're calling it a liability. They want you eliminated. My blood went cold. Eliminated. I won't let them touch you. He was already moving, grabbing bags, throwing things inside. I'm done. I told them I'm out. But they don't let people leave, Elliot. So we run. Right now. Alessandro. Please. He stopped, looked at me, and his eyes were desperate. Please don't argue. Don't ask questions. Just trust me. I will keep you safe. Both of you. I promise. I never seen him like this. Frantic. Afraid. Okay, I said. Okay. I trust you. We left everything. The penthouse. The life we'd built. All of it. Alessandro had a car waiting. We drove through the night. Kept driving until the city disappeared behind us. Where are we going? I asked. Somewhere they won't find us. I've been preparing for this. Just in case. His hand found mine. Squeezed tight. I have money. Identities. A place. We'll be safe. What about the baby? There's a doctor. Someone who owes me. She'll help when it's time. We stopped at a cabin. Remote. Middle of nowhere. Surrounded by trees and silence. This is it, Alessandro said. Our new home. It was small. Simple. Nothing like the penthouse. But it was ours. The next 2 months were the strangest of my life. Alessandro didn't leave. Didn't work. Just stayed with me. Protected me. Loved me. He learned to cook properly. To clean. To do normal things that assassins didn't do. We talked. Really talked. About his past. About mine. About the baby coming. About the future. I was trafficked, he told me one night. His arms around me. His hand on my belly. When I was 12. Sold to a man who trained children to kill. I became the ghost because I was good at it. Because it was the only way to survive. I'm sorry, I whispered. Don't be. It made me what I am, and what I am is yours. He pressed a kiss to my shoulder. But our daughter will never know that life. She'll grow up safe, loved, free. I went into labor on a Tuesday morning. Alessandro had called the doctor, but she was 2 hours away, and the baby wasn't waiting. I need you to breathe, Alessandro said, his voice steady even though his hands shook. I've got you. I won't let anything happen to you. He delivered our daughter himself, in that small cabin, with hands that had killed so many people but were so gentle with new life. When she cried for the first time, Alessandro was crying too. She's perfect, he breathed, placing her on my chest. She's absolutely perfect. Our daughter had dark hair, my eyes, and lungs that could wake the dead. What should we name her? I asked. Alessandro looked at her, at me, at this life we'd built from darkness. Hope, he said quietly, because that's what she is. Hope that broken things can heal, that monsters can become human, that love can exist even in the darkest places. Hope Carmine, I repeated. It's perfect. He leaned down, kissed me, then kissed our daughter's head. Thank you, he whispered, for saving me, for loving me, for giving me a reason to be better. Thank you for choosing us over everything else. We stayed like that, the three of us, in that small cabin, away from the world. And for the first time in my life, I felt free. 1 year later, I stood at the window of our cabin, watching Alessandro play with Hope in the yard. She was walking now, stumbling around on chubby legs, laughing every time she fell. He caught her, lifted her high. She squealed with delight. The ghost was gone. The monster was gone. All that remained was a father, a husband, a man who chose love. I thought about the auction, about standing on that platform, about being sold to the highest bidder. I thought about the fear, the control, the darkness. And I thought about how sometimes the worst moments lead to unexpected grace. Alessandro looked up, saw me watching, smiled. It was a real smile, warm, human, full of love. He carried Hope inside, set her down to play with her toys. Crossed to me. What are you thinking about? He asked, his arms coming around me. How far we've come. How different everything is. Do you regret it? His voice was quiet, vulnerable. If you could go back, would you choose differently? I turned in his arms, looked at this man who'd bought me, broken me, remade me, loved me. No, I said honestly, I wouldn't change anything, because it led me here, to you, to Hope, to this life. His eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve you. Don't deserve her. Don't deserve this. Maybe not. I touched his face. But you chose it anyway. You chose us over everything. That makes you exactly who we need. He kissed me, soft and sweet and full of promises. Hope babbled happily behind us. Our daughter, our miracle, our proof that love could grow even in the darkest soil. I love you, Alessandro whispered. Both of you. More than I knew I could love anything. I love you too, I said. Always. We stood there in our small cabin, far from the city, far from the commission, far from everything we'd been, and I understood something fundamental. I'd been sold on an auction block, terrified and alone, and certain my life was over. But I'd been wrong. My life was just beginning. Sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. Sometimes the person you fear most becomes the person you love most. Sometimes being broken down is the only way to be built back stronger. Alessandro had bought me, owned me, controlled me, but somewhere in the darkness, he'd also saved me. And I'd saved him back. We were both broken, both damaged, both carrying scars that would never fully heal. But we were broken together, and that made us whole. Hope started crying, tired from playing. Alessandro picked her up, rocked her gently. She's a little one. Papa's got you. I watched them together. This killer and this innocent life. This monster and this miracle. And I felt something settle in my chest. Something that felt like peace. Like home. Like belonging. We'd never go back to the city. Never return to that life. We'd spend forever in hiding. Always looking over our shoulders. Always afraid of being found. But we'd do it together. As a family. And that made every sacrifice worth it. Alessandro caught my eye over Hope's head, mouthed the words, I love you. I mouthed them back, and in that moment I was grateful. For the auction, for the fear, for every dark moment that had led me here. because this love, this family, this life was worth every moment of pain it took to find it. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the story, tell us your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next one.